How you doing, guys? Did you ever have buyer's remorse and say to yourself, why did I do this? Well, that's how I feel after buying this thing. What is it? It is a 1988 wheel horse 416/8, and it is a Kohler Magnum version of the 416, because the first version was with a K series, then they had a Magnum 16 single, and then I believe it was 89. These wheel horse guys that know these tractors better than me, if I said that wrong, you can go ahead and put it in the comment down below. But in 89, I believe, is when they went to the twin cylinder Onan for this particular model. So you asked me, why did I buy this thing? Well, it's a long story, and I'll make it real long for you. The little mule, my 857 that I built a couple of years ago, I put a 10 horsepower Magnum on it. And the theory of that tractor itself was to build a short frame mid-60s big block tractor, and that's exactly what I did. But ever since I built that one, I always wish I had put a 16 horsepower single in it. So I've been looking for a Magnum 16, and they're not the easiest engines to find around here, at least engines that are worth putting some money into. Now, one of my friends did give me a whole series 16 engine, 2 engine blocks and a bunch of parts to put one together. But after doing the math, it just didn't make sense, because both the crankshafts were wiped out that he had given me. So I have to find a crank. And the 16 horsepower cranks are not that easy to find, number one. And number two, they're expensive. I mean, they're a couple, $150, $160. So building one of those engines was probably going to cost a fair amount of money, because they needed everything. They needed to be honed, they needed pistons, they needed rods. Probably could save a couple of the valves. There was a camshaft. But it was going to definitely be like in the $300 to $400 range on the cheap side to put those engines together. So I was talking to one of my friends. He had this tractor, and he sent me some pictures, and I instantly, when I saw the tractor, I was like, oh man, what a great project tractor. The 416 single is such a cool, like, obscurity. You don't see a lot of the singles. You see them all, most of them around here that are for sale have the Onan twin. And oh, by the way, let's take a look. This is an original tractor with the original motor, original transmission, and it is a 1988. But I did do the numbers. Now, if I say these numbers wrong, and you please correct me down in the comments, okay? Now, from what I can tell, the 31, the first 2 digits, I have no idea what that stands for. The 16 means 16 horsepower, the K means Kohler engine, and 304, as far as I can tell, means 1988. So, and I'll put the chart, I'll try to integrate a picture of the chart that I used to figure that out. So the first couple years, maybe the first 4 years of this model had a Kohler, I believe. From 85, 86 was a K series, 87 and 88 were Magnums, and then in 89, instead of a K being there, you'd have an O for Onan. So this is originally a 16 horsepower single 416/8. So I saw the pictures of this. I said to myself, oh, what a great project. What a cool tractor that would be all fixed up. I even ordered the decal kit for it already. But then I got it. And absolutely nothing wrong with the sail. I chiseled them a little bit, but I probably should have chiseled them a little more, on the basis that I'm not going to do this project. it just needs everything, you know. And if I'm going to do everything, I have a senior. I need to do my senior. That's the tractor I really want to do a full-blown restoration on. What I wanted to do was just do a quick engine project over the winter and upgrade the little mule with a 16 horsepower Magnum motor. Now, this particular Magnum motor that's on this tractor is actually in pretty good shape. I took the tins off it, and I took the cooling fins off it so I can take a look at it. Now, I was told that this engine runs and dries mint, or not, maybe not mint, but there's no knocks, there's no bangs. I wanted to take a couple things off to make sure you can get them off. Namely, the little tiny bolts that hold the coil on. They always gall and then break off, but these came out. I didn't do this, but somebody prior to me snapped off the bolts here and here on the motor for the blower cover, so those are going to need to be drilled out and taken out. I did pull the head off it. It was pretty carboned up in there. Not carboned, but there was a lot of, you know, stalagmites and stuff. Piston was nice and tight, or fairly tight in the bore. There was no slop. The valves looked great. The seats looked great. The head looked like it was in good shape. The oil's nice and clean. So I'm pretty psyched about the motor itself. And I bet this motor off the tractor and just for sale would be at least $200. Probably a little bit more. So overall, the buy was good, because my plan is not to do this project. My plan is to take this 16 off, this Magnum 16 off this tractor, swap the thin line oil pan with the adapter plate that I have on the little mule on that 10 horsepower motor, and put this 16 into the little mule. Because from here down, from like this point down to the base, that is standard big block K series. In other words, the 10, 12, 14, and 16 have that. The 16 is different up here from the start of the fins to the head. The deck height's not any different, but the width is bigger. All the 10 horsepower tins will fit on this. Well, swip swap. The heads don't swip swap because it's a 10 bolt instead of a 9. It has the spark plug over the exhaust valve, so it's got everything that I would want in upgrading the little mule. So that's my plan. Now, if you find that sacrilegious, leave a comment below. What am I going to do with the rest of the tractor after I take the motor off? Unfortunately, I think I'm going to sell it. I do have a seat for it. It does have all the 400 series upgrades. Like, it's got all the warning lights. Hour meter. Hour meter has, what, 884 hours on it. It does have the correct heavy duty transmission cases with the webs. It's got the 2 webs on the bottom, web, so it's got the heavier duty cases. Has an 8 pinion. I don't believe the rear rims are original to the tractor though. The front ones are. The wiring's in pretty good shape. It's all original. There's no cuts, no, there's no wire splices, but the wiring's dry. Everything's there. You can tell the mouse lived in it for a little while. It's not all crusty. The hood stays are in place. They're not broken off like you find them. It's been painted. Somebody sprayed it. So it's not the original paint. I do have an original decal kit coming for it. So if somebody's interested in the tractor minus the motor, get in touch with me, because I think I'm going to continue with my original plan, which was to put a 16 horsepower on my little mule. I just wanted a nice little engine rebuild project or freshen out project over the winter. That way, first thing in the spring, I could just swap the motors. But I impulse purchased this thing on the whim that I was going to restore it. It's very restorable. I do have some engine blocks and stuff like that that I can provide to somebody if they want them. They will need a crank if you want to run one of the other 16 horsepower motors I have. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you're interested in watching a 16 horsepower motor get refreshened. If you find it sacrilegious to take the motor off this thing, put it in the comments below. And as always, I thank you very much for all your support. And if you're interested in the tractor, without the motor obviously, put a comment below and we can probably work something out. Alright guys, thank you very much. You guys have a good day.